and psychology, two things that impact every single person on earth, whether they like it or not. Today we're exploring a fascinating book that started as a viral blog post and ended up getting more Amazon reviews than the 4-Hour Work Week.
That's really interesting. What made this book resonate with so many people?
Well, it's how Morgan Housel breaks down these complex money concepts into relatable human stories. Like this mind blowing stat: Americans spend more on lottery tickets than on movies, video games, music, sporting events, and books combined.
You know what fascinates me about that? It's not just about poor financial decisions. Hosel explains how for many people in poverty, that lottery ticket represents real hope.
Exactly. And that ties into one of his key insights about how everyone's money decisions make sense through their own lens of experience. Like how someone who lived through the Great Depression might view investing totally differently than someone who only experienced the bull markets of the 2010s.
That reminds me of his point about money trauma. Could you expand on how our early experiences shape our financial decisions?
So here's what's wild. Housel found that our lifetime investment choices are heavily anchored to what we experience in our early adult years. Think about young tech workers who, until 2022, had never seen a real funding winter. Their risk tolerance was shaped by over a decade of almost continuous growth.
That's such a powerful observation about how our environment shapes us. And speaking of shaping our views, let's talk about how new many of our financial tools actually are.
Oh man, this blew my mind. The 401k didn't even exist until 1978, and the Roth IRA, that's younger than many millennials. It was created in 1998. We're basically expecting people to be experts with tools that are younger than some of their furniture.
Well, that certainly puts things in perspective, especially when you consider how we've had thousands of years to develop other aspects of civilization.
Right. And here's another fascinating comparison Housel makes. Dogs have been domesticated for 10,000 years and still retain many wolf-like traits. Yet we expect people to master complex financial instruments that have existed for mere decades.
That really drives home how we're all still learning. And speaking of learning, let's talk about that fascinating comparison between Warren Buffett and James Simons.